and we will move to our second guest, who is Dan Pecor, an architect with DeLeers. So I'm going to stop sharing and go to my speaker view so that we can see Dan.
Hello there. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with NWTC and talk with all the students listening to this, and just to give a perspective on the design field. I've been in the architectural and structural design field for 35 years now. It actually started before CAD was a thing. My first drawings was actually pencil drawing on the drafting board on paper. And one thing about that is that there's certain skills that you learn by doing hand drawing that, from my experience, have seemed to get a little bit lost, I think, in the CAD world. Things like how the drawings look and how they read. One big thing is line weights, for instance, the thicknesses of lines and how they show up on our drawing. Different types of hatchings and fills and pochés and that kind of thing that sometimes get lost in the CAD world as far as the how a drawing reads and looks. So that's one thing I'm grateful for having that experience, kind of that old school experience. Is help me carry it into my CAD usage now. Like I said, I've been doing this for 35 years. It was shortly after I got started in my career that AutoCAD started to become somewhat mainstream in the industry. So I started using that back in 1985, I believe. And then switched to Autodesk Revit when that became available. That was right around the early 2000s, I think. I started using that one. And I've been using Revit ever since. Actually, if I think about how I got started in this, when I was a little kid, I was always drawing. I always loved to draw things. I was kind of drawing things from different perspectives. I found myself drawing a lot from sort of like 1 and 2 point perspectives. Drawing buildings and things like that, different landscapes, just for fun, because I enjoyed art when I was a kid. And then I had my first actual drafting class in 8th grade. 8th grade, the industrial arts program at junior high. Took my first mechanical drafting class, and from that point I was hooked. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I consider myself fortunate in that regard, that I was able to kind of get a good feel for my career path early on. I knew that I took my drawing skills and I put them into more of a technical format. It just clicked for me. So I stayed with it, continued on with that, and now currently do architectural and structural design. Most of the design work I do currently with DeLeers is residential. We tend to specialize in homes that are $1 million and above. So very kind of high-end housing is DeLeers' forte. But I've also got plenty of experience in commercial and some light industrial work, office warehouse type buildings, some schools, hospitality. Over the years, I've covered most of the types of projects that there are, at least in this area. So that's one thing I'm also grateful for is my experience. I graduated from the NWTC in their model building program, actually. I thought that was an interesting field to get into because it combined the best of drafting and drawing that I enjoyed doing with model building, which, almost every kid my age has built a model car once or twice in his life, or a model airplane. So to me, that sounded exciting. And I took that program, and actually my first career job was doing model building for a company in Minneapolis. Now that only lasted for a little bit less than a year, and it was just kind of to do some specific projects, and then they thinned out that business. And I took my skills and started going more into the drawing and design areas. So I got a little bit out of the model building and more into the design and drawing, and I've kind of stuck with that ever since. Started out working for a structural steel fabricator, doing shop drawings for steel. Got to work on some nice projects in downtown Minneapolis, some of their skyscrapers. they're famous. Minneapolis, anybody who knows Minneapolis is famous for their skywalk system, their second floor bridge system that connects buildings throughout the downtown area. I was able to design and draw the steel for a few of those. That was very interesting work. But then I started getting more into discovering some design build opportunities. And that's actually where I learned most of my skills and knowledge in the construction field. Design build was working for design build companies was a big learning experience. If anybody's not familiar with the term design build, it usually refers to a company that does in-house design and construction. So the company takes care of this, what they call a turnkey approach, where you just talk to one person from the start to finish, and your project is done until they turn over the keys at the end of the project. That's where I learned most of my skills, because I was able to work directly with the job superintendents and the construction people that were actually building the projects that I was drawing. And there's nothing quicker to learning how to do your job than a disgruntled construction guy coming into your office and hitting you on the head with a set of drawings, say, "Hey, how am I supposed to build this?" So from that type of learning experience, you gain a lot of knowledge working with the actual people that build projects you're working on. That was fortunate for me. I've had more than half of my career experience has been with design build, and currently DeLeers is a design build company as well. Now I guess we could talk about the things that I typically do in a week. I work typically with making construction drawings for projects. So what we'll do is we'll meet with a client who wants to build a new house or to put an addition on the house. Or we also do some small commercial work, maybe dentist office remodel or some condos, that type of thing. And we'll meet with a client, get their design ideas, put together some schematic drawings. So there's kind of a process that we go through with the design phase. First process would be meeting with the client, getting their design ideas and thoughts, what they would like to do. And then we go into what we call schematic design, where we just put some simple drawings together to give the general intent of the design. Not a lot of detail, not a lot of notes and dimensions and such, just to get the layout. Then we meet with the client, see if they like that. And from there, we work into design development, which would kind of be the second stage of a project. At that point, we're putting together some more detail in the project. Now that is with the intent of to have our estimating department be able to take a look and be able to put some pricing to the project. So the second step would be to put together a set of drawings that has a little bit more detail, a little bit more notes and dimensions, and then a price to the project. And we bring that package to the client, and they give their blessing or shoot it down or make their changes, whichever direction that wants to go. The third step for a design project like this would be the construction drawing phase. That's where we worked through all the design issues. We've solidified the design for the client. They've signed off on it. And we've agreed to go ahead with a specific design. And then we assemble the drawings for construction. Now, if anybody remembers going back to talking about building models, I remember back when I was building model cars, every model car came with an instruction booklet. Tell you, okay, this is how you do piece A to piece B and piece C to D, and paint this way and put these details on here. Building construction drawings are essentially that same thing with a little more detail involved. But what I'm essentially doing is creating a set of drawings, an instruction booklet to build the structure that we're looking at, whether it's a house or an office building or a school. It's my job to communicate to the field guys and girls what to build, how to put this thing together, how to, all the detail involved, how beams fit together, how connections happen, how roofs intersect. Those are all the details for the builder itself. So the construction drawing phase is actually for the builders, for the construction people. At that point, the client is very much aware of their design. And then that's our instruction set. That's how what we use to build the project. And that's what I do. I'll put together the sets. I work with the clients, talk with the clients about their design ideas, put together drawings through the whole phase, the schematic design, the design development, and the construction drawing phase. So that kind of, I guess, sums up what I do. If there's any advice I could give for students, I guess I would say one thing is don't necessarily feel that you have to, especially for the high school students out there, or people who are just getting into thinking about their career in the future. Don't feel you have to lock into your career right off the bat for the rest of your life. I found throughout my experience that there's lots of opportunities to adjust your career path. Maybe your career path takes a slight adjustment, maybe something semi-related to what you started out with, or maybe even something totally different. And that's okay. Just plan for what you want to do to get started, and go with that route. Don't necessarily concern yourself with the rest of your life. Things change all the time. You may find that your career path may change as well with it. Another thing that I would recommend, if somebody is actually wanting to get into architecture, specifically into architecture and architecture design, it's probably a good idea to actually go for a bachelor's degree program to a college, to an actual, I believe the architecture program is generally a 6-year program through a lot of universities. It's something I wish I would have done it's the only way in this country to get an architectural license. To be a licensed architect, you have to actually have the 6-year degree. Something I wish I would have done in my career that I did not do. I mean, I still have, after 35 years, have most of the knowledge that an architect would have, but I just don't have that license to attach to my name. And it's worked for me just fine so far, but there's times when I wish I would have gone to college to got the full degree and the license. And also another point that perhaps you could explore is once you find that let's say you get into a certain field in design, architecture, or construction, you may find that field might point you in directions of other opportunities in the same and related fields. For instance, design work could lead to different areas in construction, like project management or estimating, or business development. We have people here that we call business development associates. They're basically our salespeople. They're kind of our first contact to our clients, and they're the general client contact throughout the project. So they're not doing any of the nuts and bolts technical work, but they're doing the upfront customer client contact. So there's different avenues that you can explore in this field, and so please be open to that, and just keep your eyes open to different things that might interest you as you go along in your design career. I guess that's all I have for right now. Unless there's any questions that.
There is a question, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we have a tech ed teacher here
Okay.
with his CAD class. In your experiences, what sort of hands-on carpentry experiences or classes, if any, are integrated into the CAD architectural college curriculum? So what sort of hands-on carpentry experiences or classes are integrated into CAD architectural college curriculum?
I'm not completely familiar with the curriculums of the colleges. I haven't explored that in many years, but I believe, I don't believe they have very many hands-on opportunities. The school courses generally cover the learning topics, the details, the whys and hows, but if somebody ever had a chance to work in the field on a project, that would be the best way to get your experience with the hands-on nuts and bolts. And I recommend that highly, because understanding how construction works definitely helps in design, especially the detailed portion of design where you need to tell people how to connect components, how to install components, that how to install things like flashings and different weatherproofings, and just the small nuts and bolts of a project.
Yep.
Generally, you're more apt to find that out in the job, in the field, than you are in school.
Yep, and I do know not to fully answer the question, on the 21st, we do have our architectural technologies instructors, our faculty here at NWTC. They will be talking about the curriculum. So we'll just make a note to make sure we get that to you, that curriculum specific information. There is a lot of hands-on. The architectural technology students work hand in hand with the architecture folks and the engineers, and you learn all. It's a very intense coursework, and I can't do justice to speak to the intricacies of it. But just so you know, we'll get you an answer just on the 21st, though.
And in many instances, those technical college courses and associate degrees can then be rolled into that bachelor's degree program or that 6-year program for architecture. So that's really kind of almost the best of both worlds, because you're getting that hands-on at the technical college level, but then you can roll that into your bachelor's degree and get the design and architecture classes there as well. So we will definitely be talking about that on the 21st. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dan. And
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.